Hello, hello, and welcome to my thoughts on this really hot day in London. And I was thinking about how differently we live in and celebrate hot spring and summer days now in 2020 as compared to when I was young in 1950. On a warm day like today, I would have jumped into my convertible, my Ford convertible, and I would have grabbed a six-pack of beers to start drinking while I drove over to the petrol station, the gasoline station, where I filled up the gas tank for a fiver, or I didn't fill it up, the attendant filled it up. And then I would drive to my friends' houses and I would honk the horn and they would come running out and pile into the convertible with several people standing on the running board. And I would have packed a picnic lunch and that would have been in the trunk of the car. We drove out to the I was living in Toledo, Ohio, so we drove out to the Maumee River right on the shore there, and we would all get out and we would because we want to just sun ourselves, so we get out uh, cocoa butter and we'd smear each other with cocoa butter and we would put all the picnic lunch that was in the trunk. We would leave it there to bake in the heat, and we would smear ourselves with cocoa butter, and we would take off as many clothes as you did in the 50s, which wasn't that much, and we would lie in the sun and bake ourselves to get all kinds of skin cancer that, of course, we didn't know that we were asking for skin cancer. We wanted to get a nice, lovely tan. And then when we were finished with that, we would go over to the charcoal brazier and we would pour in some charcoal and we would inhale those fumes while we lit the charcoal, and we went and we got our picnic lunch. And we pull out the potato salad that had been sitting in that hot trunk, and it was full of mayonnaise and eggs and yellow dye and canned anchovies and with all kinds of additives that known to man, and the hot dogs that were filled with pork leftovers and remains we call offal, uh, and red dye, and we would roast those on the charcoal brazier and until they became so burned that they opened and cracked, and they were charcoaled around the top, which gave us carcinogens that we digested. And then we put them in white flour hot dog buns that were nothing but flour and paste, and we would eat that with mustard, and we would that was also with yellow dye. And then after that, we would roast marshmallows until they were charred with carcinogens, and we would eat that. And then we would all sing on the beach and drink some more beer, and we would throw the beer cans into the river, and then we would do each other. And then when we were finished with that, we would get back into the convertible, throwing all our waste paper on the beach, and we would drive home singing, because we were very drunk, singing loudly, filthy songs as loudly as we could. And I would drop each person off at their home, and then I would come home and go to sleep. Would have no idea that I had eaten every rotten thing you could possibly eat. I had opened myself up for lung cancer, bladder cancer, liver cancer. Um, I had ruined my skin. I had shortened my life by 40 years. I didn't think anything of that. I just woke up the next morning in the disgusting heat and I thought, God, that was just so much fun. And I hope you had fun on this very hot day in London. And thank you very much for joining me for my thought.